What happens when there's not just one, but 50 xenomorphs, all of them being the perfect organism? What happens when private corporations are still chasing a percentage despite the threat? What happens when the mother's eggs are burnt and now you've really pissed her off? Well, we all just turn into crying weak men who just want our mommies. Because I don't know if you've been keeping up on current events, but this is Aliens.
I saw this giddy little smile you gave right after you finished delivering that, looking at over on the Zoom feed at me like, did you like that?
Yeah, I want your approval every time, man. Always chasing it. No, I love Bill Paxton in this movie, man. He's so good.
Oh yeah, he's definitely probably the most quoted character in there.
I laughed at almost everything he was saying, and then I think the biggest laugh was when Ripley's like, "I'm tired of your shit."
Do you know like the South Park bit from Aliens, like how it quotes what Newt says?
No, I don't know the South Park bit.
There's basically, you know how Newt says right after he says game over, how she's like, we should probably head inside, or it's getting dark, we should go inside. They mostly come out at night. Mostly. For some reason, South Park made a whole joke about that where Cartman's in the middle of watching Aliens and she says the line and then he just goes, you mostly come out at night. Mostly, whatever. He just like mimics it. And then throughout the episode, he ends up saying like, yeah, they mostly do this. Mostly. Like, it just becomes like a bit that he just says throughout. And it became a weird like inside joke. I feel like just Trey Parker and Matt Stone just thought that was funny.
Well, that's the thing about them, man. They just don't give a fuck.
I know, right?
They're like wild. There's no line for them. They've actually crossed it.
Here's the thing. It's a perfect time to start saying that with the shit they're releasing right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I know you're goofing on the discourse around it.
Like, is that even allowed?
Do you disagree with that?
No, I'm just sick of people who I really just don't like South Park fans.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. It's a good time to be one, is all I'm saying.
Sure, yeah. You're right. But it's just like, there's a thing with South Park fans where I'm just like, I get it.
All right, well, welcome to Movies That Changed Us. I'm Chris.
I'm Altaf.
And today we're going to be talking about how aliens changed us.
And if you like the show and you want to join...
And if you're listening to us on Spotify, just know you can also watch us on YouTube at Movies That Changed Us.
And we also have a Patreon at Movies That Changed Us, where you can watch this episode a day early and ad-free. And also, we have a bonus show called Movies That Played Us, where Chris and I come up with games for each other to play, and the other doesn't know, and it's always a surprise. And today, Chris came up with a game for me to play after we record this. Chris, want to reveal that game? Also,
yes.
I just want to say real quick, if you're new to the show, we usually swap these things. I do the intro and he does a Patreon thing, so I'm kind of shocked that I got through that. But yeah.
Me too. I was like, how far can we take this?
Okay, go. What's the game that I'm playing?
So you're going to be playing Guess the Movie Hat.
Oh, wow. You know what's funny about Guess the Movie Hat is that there, a month or so ago, when I was making a game for you, I started doing the hat one, and then I just gave up. I was like, I'm bored.
I didn't get bored of this one. But, this one, I'm curious how it's going to go, because this was surprisingly challenging, because there's so many hats in different movies, and some are really easy to pick up and recognize, and then some are so obscure. You have to find that weird balance of, like, how do I make this into a fun challenge?
Okay, I mean, Indiana Jones.
No, take your time with this one, dude.
Oh,
we want this to eat up 20 minutes.
Let's see. Bridge of Spies?
That would be a funny deep cut if the first one was Bridge of Spies. I feel like through these games and quizzes, I'm learning a lot about game design, and like learning curve and escalating the challenge. So I feel like, by the end of this run, I could design a board game.
Yes, I think you can. So go over to our Patreon at Movies That Changed Us if you want to check that out. Before we start talking about the movie, each episode we ask each other what piece of art moved us. It could be movie, TV show, music, a building. I want one of us to mention a building at one point, but Chris, what art moved you this week?
I just want to say I am actually very scared to mention something off the wall as something that moved me, because I feel like you usually kind of pump the brakes whenever it's a little off kilter. So usually stop me like, that
no.
doesn't count. That moved you.
I think listeners and viewers can look back at the moments that I said that, and I've given very clear explanation as to why. And I don't think it's just because it's something off kilter. I think there's some things where that just do not count.
Okay. All right. I'm just
I
saying
don't
you
know.
set it up like you're so open-minded. Like, something that could be this, could be a building. Like, I want to hear more about this.
Okay. What piece of art moved you this week?
I told you about this already off mic, but I just started playing the video game Ready or Not because it came out on console recently. And I've been playing that. So for those who don't know, Ready or Not is a SWAT team simulator. You're basically the leader of a SWAT team put into different scenarios, and you have to breach the rooms, clear out the suspects, save the civilians, and you command your guys to, of what wall to clear and how to do it, throwing flashbangs. And it's mostly about de-escalation and arresting people and not just going in guns blazing. That's like the concept of the game. There's a lot more that I won't get into out of spoiler territory, but the game is really fucked up and dark in a lot of places too, for those who don't know. If you do know, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's also, I haven't told you about this yet, Altaf, but there's a really, really fascinating amount of lore. There's like weird environmental storytelling, and you know how much I love that shit personally. But there's so many like little details in the environment that are set up and paid off in the next levels too. Like you'll see like newspaper articles that are, talking about this new anti-vet bill that's been passed about how veterans are getting mistreated. And it ends up escalating to like another mission about like a militia group, trying to assassinate a senator over this anti-vet bill. There's like all these tiny little things of how it's all linked together. And it's really fascinating to me.
I have a question. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, and I genuinely am curious. I'm not like trying to label you as something, and I'm not trying to call you out. I am genuinely curious. Is it weird to be playing a game where you are a cop and you're raiding? Like like now? Like, is it weird to just be like, what I do is I am a cop and it's realistic how I am a cop?
In what sense? Well, I guess it's subjective if it's weird.
Well, you know what
elaborate,
I mean.
Like, though, what you're leading with.
In 2025, it's like a weird thing to be, at least for me. Maybe I'm wrong, because I know this game is very popular, so I might be completely off here. But from my perspective, it is a little, like, I wouldn't want to play a game, not because I'm, like, morally righteous, but it's just, like, uncomfortable for me to be like, what I want to do is spend my free time being a cop in 2025, Because it's like, it's the same reason why, like, I like the movie End of Watch by David Ayer, but I'm not going to watch it now. Like, because it's like, and again, not because I have this great moral compass. It's more so it's just like uncomfortable because there's all this now, like, a weight of context. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously it's a piece of fiction, and it doesn't come across at all as as like propaganda for cops. It's more, it makes a point to show some of the real dark shit that I imagine a lot of actual police officers have seen that can actually cause mental scarring. Like, one of the mechanics in the game is the mental state of your squad mates. Like, you can swap them out and stuff and give them breaks between missions. Because
Jesus Christ. It's just like, it's also, this is a me thing, but I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm like, I want to play a video game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in the same way, though, it's like watching a dark movie or anything. Like, it comes, like, you can play it as just like a tactical shooter, like anything, but it is very much an art piece properly. Like, it's very clearly saying something. It tackles a lot of really sensitive issues and real, criminal underworld shit. And I think it's more concerned about that than it is like, the ethics of being a police officer. I mean, that's obviously part of it, but a lot of it's more about like the dark criminal underworld stuff too.
Sure, yeah.
From what I've played so far.
I would assume so. I think for me, like, watching a dark movie that's like 2 hours, spending like a lot of time on a video game, that would drain me. But that's me, like, that's personally. Again, I know this game is extremely popular, so I know I'm just like the minority there. But I just wanted to bring that forward because I was curious,
Listen, the game's not for everyone. I'm not saying you're a special person if you're not into games like this. The game even like explicitly kind of warns you of saying, like, if you've dealt with real things in this territory, like, we don't recommend you play it. It's a very dark and unforgiving game.
That's fair.
So with that being said, what art moved you? I'm just getting ready. Did you go see Lawrence of Arabia in theaters right after I say this?
No, I'm just thinking about, who would really love Ready or Not? The fucked up minds of Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
Why are you I feel like you're picking such a bad time to criticize Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They came out with such an iconic episode just now.
I want to be extremely clear. I'm not criticizing them.
I know, but you're certainly not hyping them up either. I feel like they made an episode of South Park that was like,
I'm not
history.
I am not criticizing the creators of South Park. I'm more or less criticizing the fucking people that are always like, how do they fucking do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, I respect that, but it's just like, I'm also kind of exhausted of everyone just being like, they crossed the line. And I'm like, this show's been going on for more than 20 years. Are we still surprised? Like,
You're not impressed by their latest endeavors?
It's not about impressed. I'm just like, I watched that clip and I was like, oh, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is kind of great to see a piece of satire that just like so still to this day is so open about giving a middle finger to the establishment the way the South Park does. So like I completely, and I want to make this clear, I completely appreciate what they do. Like 100%.
Then but my curiosity is, are you criticizing people like still appreciating it like you are too? Or like in what sense?
I'm just kind of like, I think I'm mixing it in maybe wrongfully about the people that are like, they still say things in the show that like no one else can really say. And it's the same culture of like the type of people that are like, comedy, you can't say anything anymore. And then it's those kind of people that constantly say that. And then they use South Park as like but South Park, look, they're the only people that can do that kind of comedy. And I'm like, no, that's not why they're great. They're great because they are like, they are pushing certain boundaries, but they're also, it is smartly written satire. It's not just like they say really atrocious shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. I definitely agree with that. I don't think, when people cheaply say, they make fun, South Park gets away with it because they make fun of everything. It's like, yeah, there's truth in it, but it's not an interesting thought. I was just joking about it personally, just because like I was just highlighting a bit from Aliens about it. And it felt like it had to be made into that, where I was like, oh, okay, you have a take on South Park. So I was curious,
Yeah, I maybe shouldn't have just taken over your story about the South Park aliens.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I was just breaking it down a little.
I watched a lot of movies over the weekend. More than I usually do. Lately, I haven't been watching that many movies for myself just because I don't have the time. But I watched, obviously I watched Aliens on Sunday, but then I also watched Miller's Crossing for the first time. It's Coen Brothers movie. The movie I really want to talk about, what really moved me was, it was my second time watching this movie, but Broadcast News. It's about these three people that work at a news station, and they're all kind of like, it's kind of a semi-love triangle, but also a workplace comedy / drama. It made me feel how I feel when I watch Jerry Maguire, which is like, how is every line either funny or heartbreaking at the same time? Like, every character is fully realized. I don't know, you should really check out this movie. I know I recommend a lot of movies to you, man, but I hope you do watch this.
Yeah, okay, cool. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I mean, I always ask you, how did Aliens change you?
This is only my second time ever watching Aliens, funny enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa!
I know, this is not like the first movie, I know front to back, I'm in love with Alien, and I've seen that movie countless times. But the second one, I watched, and I think it's a great movie, but it just never like really like got into my bones the same way the first one did. And I still really have a great respect for it. And I still feel the same way. I still really think this is like an excellent sequel. And in a weird way, it's like structurally, it's the same movie as the first one. Like the story beats are virtually the same, just under a different context. It reminds me a lot of what Terminator 2 did with, versus up against Terminator 1. So in terms of how it changed me, it's hard to say. I would say, I guess it like deepened my appreciation for the Alien franchise as a whole. you know?
The way Aliens changed me is that it made me like the first one more.
No, I'm just saying I feel more like, you know, like it enriches the character of Ellen Ripley, and I feel more connected to her than I did before, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, watching it again, though, I still had a lot of fun with it and still really enjoy it. And there's, you know...
But it wasn't like, it didn't really move you any differently.
Yeah, I think like I've had conversations with people who grew up with them and are, you know, are familiar. And there's kind of this divide of like the Aliens fans and then the Alien fans. And it's very fascinating to me because they're both fundamentally, they deal with a lot of similar things, you know? And they both are about the same monster and in the same world and stuff, but they just go about it in such different ways.
So my history with this movie is that I watched this movie a lot growing up only because it was on TV all the time. Like, it was just constantly on. And so I just, for a while, was like, this is what the franchise is. It's this movie.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't until like a little bit older when I watched the first movie and I was like, oh shit, this is where it all started, but also the tone of this is completely different. Like, this is, and you can watch our episode on the first Alien movie where I have like an existential crisis about like where we are in society with both technology and how corporations aren't looking out for us.
Yeah, that was a very specific time in your life, and you're fundamentally different now.
No, yeah, I am not cynical about that at all anymore. But you can watch that episode to hear me talk about it. This movie has always been this just... I mean, I just look at this movie and I think of what big blockbuster cinema is to me, specifically Hollywood movies. Like, this is what Hollywood movies are to me, at least in my kid brain. That's what they were, which is like one character against all odds, beating the big bad, and she has a heart because she wants to look out for this kid, and it's painting in broad strokes, but you feel thematically connected with the character. It's and for that reason, this movie is just like, this movie's such a fucking blast to me. But also, I connect with it emotionally. I think I kind of disagree with people who are just like, Aliens is all about explosions, and the first Alien is like the actual movie. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, they both are wildly different, and one is not less than the other. But that's, again, that's my opinion.
When you say one is not less than the other, do you not have a preference in terms of like which one you like or connect with more?
It's honestly what day I'm watching, like how I'm feeling that day, you know?
Sure, I get that.
Because I'm not putting on Alien for fun all the time. Like, Alien is a movie that kind of makes me feel bummed out sometimes, just because of like where I'm at in my life, and maybe that'll change. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it makes me think a lot about like the world I'm living in, which is great. Yeah. It's, again, watch our first episode. I love that about Alien. It's a movie that came out in the 70s, and it makes me think about 2025.
Yeah.
Aliens is a movie that I can truly escape into. You know what I mean? Where for 2 hours, it's not homework. It is just like I am fully in, and I'm in this world with them. And like, because it's James Cameron, at the end, I know it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny though, because I guess to elaborate on my point when I was saying that it's still kind of the same movie as the first one, is that if you wrote everything on a bulletin board of the story, things that happen in it, it's very similar to the first one. It's like, team of people go into an area that they're not familiar with. They get attacked by an unknown force that they're not prepared for. They kind of work together and team up trying to figure out problem solving to take care of it. They fail at it. You know what I'm saying? And then like everyone dies except, you know, for one character particularly, you know, and she ends up having an opportunity to escape, and then she goes back to save someone, you know? It has a lot of similar beats, and even within, you know, like finding out that it's all a big exploitation done by the corporation too, within the same plot. It's interesting.
But I think the big difference is, because I agree with you there, like the actual plotting of it, you could really do a one-to-one. But I think the biggest difference is that now it's not about running away, it's about running towards something.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's what James Cameron does brilliantly, you know, with sequels in general, I think, is that he'll kind of take the things that are familiar to us, you know? Like, that's what I think is so impressive about this movie, is that it still, respects the identity of Alien while still doing something completely new with it and taking it in a completely different direction. But it still has those elements that still make it feel like you're watching an Alien movie.
I think, for sure. I just think it's super important to point out that it's like Ripley knows what's ahead now. In Alien, they didn't know what they were working with. Ripley knows exactly what they're working with. Yeah, they're at odds she's at odds with the men who don't really like buy into her story. But an hour into it, they see it for themselves and they're totally with her, which makes it one of the most satisfying parts of the movie, where literally exactly an hour in, right after they come back, everyone's on Ripley's side. And it's so satisfying. But I think the point I'm trying to say is that like Ripley decides to go back. She is making a choice. And I think when we're talking about good sequel shit, the hardest thing to do in a horror sequel is to kind of ask, like, for the main character to have a reason to go back to the thing that nearly killed her and did kill all of her friends. Like, why the fuck would she go back? And it's kind of amazing that this movie's answer to that is because she can't sleep. You know, it's so simple. Like, she literally can't sleep. And she's not going to be able to sleep until the job is done. Like, until she faces that trauma that she's been living with. She just knows, she's like, I'm going to be living with nightmares forever until I go back.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, you know, I guess it's hard for us to say because we've never been faced with a monster that bleeds acid and killed all of our friends.
But I want us to say, Chris, that I don't want to speak for our listeners. Like, if you guys have, comment down below.
100%. We respect you and we see you.
Like, if,
but,
yeah, thank you for saying I see you. Like Neytiri from Avatar would say, I see you. But,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, you know, that new, what's it called? Fire tribes,
Don't fuck with me here. It's Fire and Ash. Stop this.
Is it called Fire and Ash? I actually really did forget.
We're not doing this bit. We're not doing it.
I'm being dead serious. I really forgot what it was called.
Chris doesn't appreciate what's happening in Pandora. That's all I'll say.
No, I don't appreciate it either. I mean, they're trying to mine it and trying to destroy it, you know, and exploit the natives.
So, what were you going to say?
But what I was going to get at, though, but you and I have been faced with tough, you know, I guess traumatic situations in our time. In my experience dealing when it comes to painful past or people that we, you know, whatever that hurt us or anything like that, my best thing is to truly distance myself from it and to move forward. What do you think about this in terms of like, do you think that there's ever a good time to go back or to like really just own that thing? Or do you think like what's your take on that sort of thing?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So for you, it's all relative too, right? To the situation that you were in. It is, I'm not going to say there's a wrong or a right way to do it because I can't speak to your situation, whatever you feel comfortable with, right? I think from what I've dealt with in the past, I had a recent experience without getting into details where I had to confront something that had happened to me 2 years ago. And it was something that I was trying to move on from. I remember sharing this with you. You know what I'm talking about. It was something that I was trying to move on from. I'm like, that happened, but that always happens. It's fine. And the person that did this to me had done this to me before. And I was like, it's okay. Whatever. But it was like a toxic relationship, basically. And I tried to forget it, but this person, like, I eventually got to a point where I'm like, I have to confront this because this person is still doing this to me. And if I don't confront this, I'm never going to stop thinking about it. And it's going to take control over my life. So I have to take action. I want to stress again, because it's a tricky matter to talk about how to deal with trauma, right? I want to stress again that this was my approach. I am not saying that this should be everyone's approach. Everyone deals with it differently. Seek professional help. Go to a therapist, please. Like, I'm not saying that what I did was the right thing, but it did work for me. It did like help me actually gain some strength, right? And then through doing that, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about just like, oh, this was a big weak point of mine that was actually being carried through years of my life. And now that I've confronted this thing, I'm free of it. but what now? Like, what's next? There is that quality to when After Aliens ends where like Ripley and Newt, you see that shot of them sleeping together, and it's that like
Yeah.
satisfying feeling of like they've done it. It's that feeling of like they have their lives ahead of them now. You know what I mean? Ripley might be able to sleep again. Now I know the third one kind of undoes a lot of shit, so we don't have to get into that. But like,
What happens in the third one?
when Newt's dead, they kill off Newt in the beginning.
Oh, really? What the fuck? They kill off Newt in the third one?
It's really funny that you're just finding out about this because this has been like a pain point for everyone.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Everyone's pissed off at that move. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but go on.
But yeah, so like I do kind of resonate with the idea of like, fuck, I just got to confront it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing that, and I'm sure listeners do too, you know. I think I don't really want to chime in just because I want you to speak for yourself on that and leave it at that, you know. So I'll speak for myself when it comes to me dealing with tough situations in my past and toxic people I've had to deal with, you know. For me, it's been more about freeing yourself from that person, you know, and finding your own identity without it. And I think you had to do that in your own way too, for sure, you know. But I think, I don't know, it's just interesting because you and I have had just completely different experiences. I've never had that sort of cathartic thing of like, you know, having that, it's not really closure, but whatever you want to call it, you know, saying your piece and like truly expressing yourself over something and being heard or trying to be heard. Because for me, it's been more like I have to accept the reality that there won't be closure, you know, and I have to just let that go and not let it take over for me.
Well, and you know what? Sometimes that is just the hand you're dealt. Like that is kind of what you have to do, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure some listeners will relate to you and some will relate to me.
like, yeah, I was in a situation where I had the opportunity to give myself that, right? There are people that will never have that level of closure, and they have to learn to live with that as well. With this movie, I am genuinely just with Ripley and Newt. Like, that's all I care about. And when Newt gets in that elevator, I love it so much, not just because it's a badass action hero moment, but it's like she's making that choice. She is going downstairs, and she is doing that because she cares about something that is outside of herself, which is like, I'm not a parent, but that's the close. I feel like that is what parenthood is.
Yeah, 100%. You know, whenever parents talk to me about parenthood, it's almost always like, oh, everything in my life suddenly just makes sense. Like I now have a constant driving motivator of like every day is somehow orbiting around how is my kid? Is my kid safe? What are they doing? You know what I mean? Are they learning right from wrong? You know, like making sure, you know, your kid's looked after. And yeah, this movie definitely, because there was always like inklings of like, you know, motherhood, I guess, you know, or like parental aspects in birth and certain things in the first Alien, right? That, you know, we talked about that a little bit in the last podcast, the idea of, you know, being forcefully impregnated and like giving birth through killing other people. It was like always a very strange concept. And this movie does such an interesting thing to elaborate on that further by having like a giant mother alien with a bunch of egg sacs. And like the final battle is like mother versus mother, you know?
Two mommies fighting it out. No, I mean, it's like...
Is that your Google search history?
Yeah, 100%. Two mommies fighting it out. That's always what I'm looking at. I mean,
mommy mud wrestles.
Mommy mud wrestles. Exactly. You know, I immediately flash back to that scene in Everybody Wants Some where you think Glenn Powell is proposing a threesome with these two girls, but then it hard cuts to them mud wrestling.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember? Wait, can I jump into this real quick?
Go for it.
This is worth it. I promise it'll be worth it.
I know you're mentioning something dumb. So.
I don't know what you mean, dude. I'm going to get deep. Hang on. No, do you remember that fictional show that you and I came up with called Mommy Moves In?
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up because we just said mommy and it reminds me of that.
I think the whole idea we had is that like it would be the poster of it would be the kid, you know, like gray hoodie, pajamas, just like a burnout, and the mommy's in a pantsuit, arms crossed, and he's like with a hamper, like holding a tide but doesn't know what to do with it kind of thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, like he looks like inept, like what what am I doing with my life? And then like his mom standing next to him, like you said, with her arms crossed, like rolling her eyes. And we basically came up with a show of like, what if these two were forced to live together and he was forced to grow up.
TBH, I'd kind of watch it. Like if it was good, like I'd be like, oh wow, that's a great idea for a show.
Yeah, I can see like one of the Desperate Housewife ladies playing the mom.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned Mommy Moves In. That was super important. But I think. Well, I was thinking about that while watching this movie. Is just like when the mommy xenomorph, the queen bee herself, takes the elevator and comes upstairs. I'm kind of with her. I'm just like, yo, you just burnt my kids alive.
Yeah, you just straight up roasted my kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny though, because I didn't realize she was holding them like at hostage almost. Like she sprayed the fire, being like, hey, look what this shit can do. I'm near your kids.
I know.
And the mommy xenomorph doesn't come down and she just backs away. It wasn't until one of the eggs hatches that she was forced to incinerate it.
Leaving out certain details. She has 2 henchmen xenomorphs that are kind of just like, that are coming from each side, and they're about to attack Ripley and Newt, but then the flamethrower's near the eggs, and she like looks at both henchmen xenomorphs back off. It's like,
that's right.
It plays out like a silent movie. It's kind of great.
And then we get to the final mommy mud wrestle.
Well, I just gotta say, and like, we'll talk about the finale later, but I just want to mention, like, that fucking set, dude, where the mom lives, and those eggs, and that fucking weird thing where the eggs are coming out of. I'm like, why don't movies look this good anymore? Like, which is another thing about this movie. It is such a great looking movie and has a completely different aesthetic from the first Alien, but in a way that I'm just like, in this movie's own right, it looks amazing.
Why does James Cameron love blue so much?
I don't know. I'm thinking
it's fascinating.
That
to
is
me.
true. I mean, well, he loves the water. We know that. Like he'll spend. I feel like if it was his choice, he'd be in a submersible the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's true.
But like, yeah, from like The Abyss, which was like an early underwater movie that he did.
Piranha, whichever one that he did.
Which is like, he like discredits that movie now. Like he doesn't like even, he literally says like halfway through that they fired me. I wasn't even part of that. But Terminator 2 is very blue.
But super blue, yeah.
These are the kind of takes that you can only find on movies that changed us, guys.
Avatar is blue.
Oh, I mean, come on.
It's as blue as it fucking gets.
He's like, oh, you want blue? I'll give you fucking blue.
Well, like that bit Jerry Seinfeld has about Cookie Crisps, where he was saying like how, like eventually it's when a bunch of corporations got together and said, to hell with everything, whatever.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all these cereals have so much sugar, and they're like, oh, why not just make it into cookies? Why not? I feel like Avatar is like that with the blueness for James Cameron. So let's just make the people blue. Fuck it.
Fuck it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Avatar's great. Oh, God. I was watching that scene where the Tokun was ripping that guy's arm off.
Wait, is that the whale?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not going... I think our audience is smart enough to know what the Tokun is, so I don't need to explain it to them. I actually respect our audience, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you don't.
That would be hilarious if like the comments just light me up. Like everyone's huge Avatar nerds and know all the lingo and the lore, and they're just like, Chris, like you're just behind. Like, you call yourself a movie fan?
Here's the difference between you and me. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd expect that.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
What do you think of Newt?
Oh, she's great. I mean, I don't know, but like we're great, like she's not like particularly charming or anything. She's not supposed to be, I think she serves the story exactly what it needs, what it needs to have. I think they have such like a calm relationship, if that makes any sense. Like every scene they have together when they're alone, I'm like finally relaxed, which says something.
100%. That's what I liked a lot about it, which is like Newt is not some fast talking Macaulay Culkin type kid. It's she's truly like a lost child.
Yeah, and I think there is like obviously this movie is about, motherhood, and I think they do a good job of bringing that type of maternal energy, that traditional mother energy, if that makes any sense.
In like the most untraditional way possible. Like
Totally.
100%. I mean, it's an interesting point that you brought up though. Like the fact that like when Newt and Ripley are together, everything's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that happens when they're underneath the bed together. Like that, or that moment where when Paul Reiser like locks him into that room. I love that moment where Newt's like, I'm scared. And Ripley doesn't do the classic movies hero thing, which is like, don't be scared. Just look at me. I got you. She literally says, me too. And
yeah, exactly. That's a very important moment. And I think that's something like, that traditionally I keep having to say that, because everyone has different types of parents, but like, that's like kind of the expected qualities of a mother. Is like just seeing you emotionally and accepting that and letting you feel that and like sharing that with someone, that's like, and I think that's an important thing. Like you said, a lot of dude protagonists are like, don't you have nothing to be afraid of, you're a tough guy, whatever it is, which is perfectly valuable in its own way, in some cases, but it's just interesting to see it from another perspective and still have like an action heroine.
100%. Everyone has a different experience, obviously, but traditionally dads go for more of the problem solving mode and moms see you more emotionally. That's just how it goes. Right. And, I like that Ripley's in those traditions. Ripley's both mom and dad,
Yeah. I feel like both this movie and the last movie have the same kind of thing of like, everything would have been fine if they just fucking listened to Ripley.
Just listen to Sigourney Weaver at all times. That's just life advice. Listen to her.
Except in holes.
Well, even in Cabin in the Woods. Like fucking listen to her. That's my thing about.
For those who haven't seen Cabin in the Woods, please, for the love of God, watch that movie.
That's my thing about Cabin in the Woods. Just fucking kill him. It's fine. I know, like it's supposed to be like we gotta preserve our humanity, but kill the guy. You're saving the world. Okay.
Yeah, that's a cynical movie.
It 100% is. Remember when the hand of God shows up? We're spoiling Cabin in the Woods like crazy, but still.
No. Spoilies.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Welcome to the spoiler zone.
Can you edit that? When I did my little hand wave, can you edit that to like color correct everything red and crash zoom on me back and forth and with sirens?
Yeah, just know that it'll be like 1 a.m. and I'll be pissed off, but I will do it.
Yeah, 100%. And then also, can you add in like a clip of you on your phone, like in the editing room, like, all right, Chris, I'm doing it,
All right, Chris, I'm doing it. Sure, I'll do all of that.
Do all that and include this too while you're at it too, just to really add this meta self-awareness of our podcast.
We're leaving this in.
We're leaving all this in, dude. They're gonna get a peek behind the curtain.
Because you know who else would leave this in?
Who?
The fucked up minds of Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker. Dude, those guys will go anywhere.
You don't know what direction they're going to go with their comedy.
I'm starting to come around on your joke,
It's funny, right? Because again, I'm not making fun of them. Enough about Matt Stone and Trey Parker. We had to like reset cameras real quick, guys, just because my battery was dying. But in between the takes, Chris was like, I watched this short. So I know we were supposed to talk about aliens, but Chris wants to mention a YouTube short he saw.
So I'm going to give a shouty to blanksheet.playa on Instagram. I've showed you this guy before. He does like really good, like positive masculinity advice, but he dresses up like Fred Durst, Eminem kind of thing where he'll be like, play a move. If you ever meet a girl, dude, like he gives these like really kind of solid advice, but he just does it in like a very kind of humorous way.
Yeah, they're not like, it's not manosphere shit. It is like,
actually, exactly. And so I just watched a little thing that popped up while you were resetting your battery. And he says, if you find yourself having, basically just saying like, poor eating habits and facing it again and again, do yourself a favor. Order yourself an extra large pizza of your favorite kind, a bottle of soda, and eat it while you watch the movie The Whale. If that
Oh my God.
And he said, and he's basically saying, like, he explains the premise of the movie. And he's like, have you ever heard of it? The whale is about this is, a man with extreme eating habits and this and that. And if that doesn't do the trick for you, I don't know what to tell you or something like that. Because the food will not be enjoyable while you watch it.
The Whale is such a bad movie. You know what people should watch?
I haven't seen it.
You know what people should watch instead of The Whale?
What?
Avatar: Way of Water. There's a better whale in there.
If you want to see a real whale.
Back to Aliens. So I want to, we've been talking about trauma. We've been talking about parenthood. I think it is time to talk about, like, the fun, popcorny elements of this movie. And before we get into action, the main thing I want to hit is fucking Bill Paxton, dude.
It's game over, man. Game over.
I was watching this and I'm like, what a loss to movies. Like, this guy who is such a great, like, he didn't have many leading man roles, but he was such a great supporting cast member. And one of his few leading man roles was in Twister, the OG one.
Oh, yeah.
He's amazing in Twister. He's so good. And I just have always loved him. Even in, like, he was in Edge of Tomorrow, that Tom Cruise movie, which I think was his last role. He's so good in that as well. Fucking just love Bill Paxton. I really wanted to, if this feels more like a shouty, but I just like, I think it ties into maybe what I want to talk about, which is like, I love that this movie kind of does the Predator move, which I think Predator came out after this movie, but like, which is like present all these macho men and women. We have Vasquez in there with that fucking big gun, all, them like trading one-liners, just being very macho, high-fiving each other, doing pull-ups, and all kind of shitting on Ripley a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And the moment they come across something they don't understand, like Hudson said, it's game over, you know? And so they're all fucking scared shitless.
Well, what's interesting about that, and similar to Predator, I don't know if Aliens was intentionally doing this, but there's something to be said, at least, that the trend in the 80s were these super macho shoot 'em up movies. That it was the era of the Rambo movies and the Arnold movies that were coming out. And obviously post Terminator, I'm assuming this came out after Terminator. It's very clearly a critique of that, kind of similar to how Predator was too. I'm not just going to keep roping it back in, but it has the same kind of thing where, like, I'm imagining myself in the context in which this movie came out, being someone when we were getting an onslaught of these macho action movies and seeing one where it's like, okay, another group of dudes that, like you said, trading one-liners, more, like, oh, you son, that kind of energy. And then all of them just getting fucked up immediately.
And then at the end, it's Ripley with like a sleeveless shirt, like being the badass. You know what I mean? But
Totally.
Also, like, a part of that is just Sigourney Weaver, who is an actress like I still don't think we have someone like her, which is like, she can bring this level of humanity and empathy to any character she plays, but then also can play this like fucking badass, man.
Yeah,
like
her physicality is like unmatched.
She can look terrified and look scared, and at the same time, she gives off that vibe of like, I don't want to say the wrong thing in front of her.
Yeah, a movie I also just watched that I didn't mention for the art that moved me. I told you about this. I watched World War Z. Very okay movie. It's whatever, I watched it just for fun. This is related because, like, one thing that really always bothers me in action movies or horror movies is when the characters don't seem that reactive to the things,
Yeah.
And obviously, and maybe, I don't know. I've never made a movie, so I don't know how easy that is to pull off when you're doing a full shoot day and spend weeks on one scene, whatever. I don't know how that's done, but I can always see it when I watch movies when, like, the characters clearly don't feel like they're actually in danger because they're just kind of like, they're just kind of backing away nervously when people are dying right in front of them.
Right. And a lot of that can be just the director. A lot of that can just be the environment on set. Like, how are these actors being presented with these big spectacles that they have to react to,
Exactly. And, like, James Cameron in general is a fucking stallion at keeping... Wait, did you like that?
I could tell that you couldn't think of the word, so you went with stallion.
Oh, I mean, that's half of my sentences. I can't figure out what I'm going to say. But But really though, in real talk though, like James Cameron is a fucking stud at keeping track of where the characters are at emotionally, where the action's happening, where our attention should be. Like we talk about this separately, but whenever gunfights are happening in his movies, you always see the impact of the gun.
Yeah.
You see who gets
100%.
shot, you see the bullet that gets hit. And same thing though when the characters react to things. He's so mindful of like you said, the fear that the characters have or the cockiness or whatever it is, but it keeps you attached to the characters at all times. You can tell that's what James Cameron prioritizes.
Yeah, he's also like heavily aware of like what all characters should be doing at all times, especially in these ensemble pieces. Or like in Aliens, he immediately gives Newt something to do. Like she's really scared, and then very quickly when they figure out how they need to like close up certain like entryways, lock in the xenomorphs in this area, it cuts to everyone doing something, and you see that quick shot of Newt helping people carry things, like or that tiny little thumbs up when Ripley asks Newt, "Are you okay?" and Newt gives that tiny little okay thumbs up. It's such a great.
Yeah.
He's good at those like small character beats and making sure that in the action you know how to feel about every character that's in this scene.
Oh yeah, and even like ahead of time, they even tell the audience how much ammo they have in the guns. Like the movie's constantly keeping track of like, okay, we have 50 rounds in this. Like there's that whole scene, obviously, kind of where she's getting a little flirty with the soldier, where like he's explaining to her how the gun works, and it works. It's a double, whatever you want to call it. It's a double whammy because on one hand, you're seeing this relationship develop, and that's clearly the kind of at the
You're
forefront.
talking about with Ripley and Hicks, right? Like that.
Yeah, when Hicks is showing her the gun and teaching her how to use it.
Amazing scene, and it is the most James Cameron scene ever. I'm like the
Yeah,
way
exactly.
this is their sex scene, and it's basically him showing Ripley a gun. Like,
Oh, exactly. But what's genius about it though is that that's the forefront, right? Seeing this relationship develop, but the background, whatever you want to call it, is you do actually listen to what he's saying, and when it comes into play, when she's using that gun later, you know how it works, and you're on you see her make those decisions of using the grenade launcher or running out of bullets, you're in line with her. You know what's going on.
it's my favorite thing when movies are able to pull this off, which is, oh fuck, I was being given information without realizing I was being given information.
Which James Cameron does amazingly. I mean, we never covered the first Terminator movie, but I remember, I think in class or maybe in a book I read or something, I remember learning how that scene when Kyle Reese gives all the background information on, the war with the machines and all that stuff is happening during a car chase. Mm-hmm. So it never feels like you're being spoon-fed because your attention's being, stimulated at the same time.
Important question to ask. I want to just put this out there. I think the scene that I felt like I didn't move from my couch, or no, this is not the question I was going to ask here. Sorry, my brain scrambled. Let me repeat that. Okay. Altaf, cut this part out.
No, don't cut this out, man. We want to watch you just absolutely collapse.
I want to see you crumble.
This guy calls himself a podcaster. Listeners, why don't you all make fun of him?
Suddenly I hear the listeners. I'm like, oh my God.
Chiming in. Boo!
No, the scene in this movie that I feel like I didn't move away from my seat for a single second, and it still has the same impact on me that it had when I first watched it, is the scene where they're like on the tracker and they see a bunch of fucking xenomorphs coming in, and they're being like, oh my God, it says it's right here. It can't be. And then Ripley looks up. And then you're just like, fuck. And then Hicks opens up the vent.
Oh,
and there's
yeah.
a bunch of them. And you're just like, Jesus, fuck. Like, it is.
Yeah.
That scene is insane to me, but I think I just wanted to bring it up to ask you, like, how do you feel about the xenomorphs in this movie?
Oh, I think, like, I knew what to expect because I've seen this movie before and I've played aliens-based video games where you have to machine gun a bunch of xenomorphs and all that stuff. But I think like it still weirdly takes like recompartmentalizing for me because I think of the first movie when, it's only one xenomorph that's like this terrifying unknown threat. And now it's like a shitload of them are on camera. But I think, like you said, watching it again, they did still an excellent job of expanding on the tension of like the rules of the world by having that motion tracker that was in the last movie, but using it in a different way. Now there's like a lot, like you said, and they still make a point to like respect the tension that it would create and not just cheaply throwing a bunch at the audience.
Oh yeah, totally. I think it also helps that you do get the queen xenomorph at the end. Like you do get the
Hmm.
one big one that so it's not just like I'm glad that it wasn't this dumb thing where they're now fighting an army of xenomorph. Like it is still just one against one.
Yeah, and they get overpowered and overwhelmed by that many too. And they even make a point, like, Ripley says, like, just one of them killed my entire crew. Like, do not underestimate this thing.
I mean, do you now want to get to the big like the final 30 minutes of this movie?
Sure. Do you want to go over some shouties real quick
Well, I wanted
before?
to talk about before we get to the final 30.
Oh, do we do shouties before write-ins? Is that when we typically do it?
That's when we do shouting.
Oh,
before
my
the-
bad. I apologize. I got a little too eager.
No worries. We didn't talk about Bishop, but Bishop is basically the one that's controlling the remote. He's responsible to bring the other ship towards them so they can escape the planet. And obviously Ripley has a weird relationship with the synthetic because of what happened in the last movie, and I kind of love the good sequel shit that they're doing, which is they're subverting that. That actor is amazing. I love the moment where Ripley brings back Hicks, who's badly injured. She asks Bishop how much time we have, and he's like, tons, like 25 minutes. And she's like, we're not going back. And even a synthetic Bishop is like, we're not? Like, what the fuck are we? She has to go back for Newt. And there really isn't anything more gripping in a movie than those couple of minutes when we're just in the elevator with Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what that feeling is, but just the fact that James Cameron lets us sit in there. Like, we're just with her as she's preparing, and there's smoke coming out, and the lighting is fucking sick. And the moment the elevator door opens, we get that hero shot. He gives her the hero shot, which is this angle looking up at Ripley push in, and she comes out from the smoke, and you're just like,
Yeah.
that's our fucking hero, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's something so fascinating about it too, because, you still are with her in her fear. Like, that's what makes it so powerful, is that she's not just like, they weren't playing like rock music and they weren't doing like the bad to the bone thing with the Terminator. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
she's sweaty. She's scared. You can see it in her eyes. Yeah.
and she's going into deep danger that's been established too. And, but you just know she feels like she has no choice because this child is on the line.
And I mean, it's funny though, even though I've seen this movie so many times, the moment when I see Newt's broken like sensor on the ground, there is a pit in my stomach that I still feel like it, which is like funny because I know they get out, but I'm just like, oh God, and I think that's just credit to Sigourney Weaver's performance. It's just like, not only do you care about Newt, but you also are just so with her. Sigourney Weaver in the third act of Aliens movies, man, she's just fucking amazing.
Yeah. I know.
So this xenomorph shows up, a big motherfucker, dude, so big.
We get to the mommy mud wrestling.
We get to the mommy mud wrestling. Well, the mommy mud, it's interesting, right? Because the ship comes to save them, and you think you're out of there, and they arrive back into base. And similar to the first Alien, the xenomorph's still there. And it comes out from under the ship, and you're like, fuck. I mean, this is just great action filmmaking where you're just like not breathing.
Yeah. Do you prefer? Okay, well now, which do you prefer? You are my lucky star, or get away from her, you bitch.
Oh, Chris, come on. I think just because of my pure love for movies, get away from her, you bitch.
I get that.
I think get away.
Neither was a wrong answer. I'm just curious,
When I was younger and I was watching Aliens on TV, get away from her, you bitch was like everything. It was like
Oh yeah.
Oh my, that's why you go to the movie theaters, for that line.
Oh yeah. I was watching James Cameron's Masterclass. I think you've seen that too, right?
No. You're the only one who's seen that, but you've mentioned it to me.
Gotcha.
Not the only one.
Just
I'm saying the only one between us.
Yeah. But he explains of like how he tried to elegantly pull off that setup and payoff. And He basically was saying, like,
for listeners, you're talking about the forklift sequence, like the
yeah, sorry, yeah, the forklift in general, because that was planted earlier in the movie where you see her get in it and know how to use it and impress everyone with it.
that amazing moment where she's like, "Where do you want me to put it?" And then they both laugh because they're like, "Oh, she's our girl." Like that's amazing.
Yeah. And he basically was sharing, like, he wants to respect the movie's relationship with the audience. Where he basically said, like, I'm going to put something in here that most audiences will probably know will come back. Audiences aren't stupid. They know that forklift machine thing will probably come back. But can I do it in a way that's satisfying and still perfectly enough where they might have forgotten about it?
Yeah.
It's interesting. And that's one of the iconic setup and payoffs.
There's a great line from Billy Wilder who kind of says, it's become famous amongst people talking about those kind of moves, which is this big setup and payoff that James Cameron was talking about, which is give the audience 2 + 2 and let them come up with 4.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's really fascinating how that sort of thing's done.
Because if you respect the audience enough and then give them some inklings without them realizing, like what I was talking about, without you realizing you will be provided information that you needed later, you feel so smart. Like, it feels so satisfying. Like, there is nothing better than when, like, those doors open up and she's like, she literally, like, walks up to the camera with the forklift. The camera pushes in and it's get away from her, you bitch. Like, it's those kind of moments in movies where I do tear up a little bit. Cause,
dude, I get it. I get,
like, I cry in movies mostly when they pull off that shit. It's so.
You get, like, movie euphoria.
It's so. I don't know. I don't cry as much in sad movie scenes. Like, I mean, people who have watched our reactions might be laughing because they've seen the Gladiator reaction and It's a Wonderful Life. But I think there is this, like, a moment where a movie pulls it off with such flair and lets you have that moment as an audience member to cheer, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing. And I mean, the shorthand for that has literally become the Captain America catching the hammer. But it's for that reason, which is like, that's 10 years of fucking payoff. Like,
yeah, that's the ultimate setup and payoff. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting too, because that line, is so, like, simple, but so powerful, right? Like, it didn't take, like, a screenwriter, like, fucking genius to say, get away from her, you bitch. But the context is so, like, perfect in which he says it, and the timing of it and the shot in itself, like that, right when the shot starts and you see the door lift and you see her backlit with the shadow, you're like, you want to fucking, like, it's the whole, like, you want to stand up and, like, just fucking punch a wall or something. It's so good.
Yeah, man. And I also think it's interesting that she says you bitch, because it's suddenly this thing of, like, you're not this, like, organism to me anymore. I'm like, this is like mother to mother. Like, you know what I mean?
Mommy mud wrestling.
Mommy mud wrestling. It is true, though. It's no longer like the perfect organism. I can't understand you. It's like, you're a fucking bitch. Give me my daughter back.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's a really elegant way to, like, square up truly with this monster, to be like, you're a bitch.
And then, even then, though, it's not like one final blow, it's out. The movie's still not letting you off the hook. They get to that, like, air vent or whatever you want to call it, and the alien is stuck there, and Ripley's stuck, and they're trying to get out. It still has that feeling of, like, fucking come on. and then finally, when the xenomorph gets shot into space, Ripley comes crawling out, and now Bishop is like is like half of a body. Yeah. There's that, like, oh my god, I can breathe. Oh, thank God. And what does Bishop say that I fucking love? He says the line that is just so beautiful.
Like, he says, like, not bad for a human.
Aliens rules. Chris, you want to get to shouties?
Oh, you can't hear it because you're on Zoom, but I just clapped a little bit. I kind of want to start clapping at the end of our podcasts.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, not for you, but just for us. You know what I mean? Just like, oh, we made it through that. Like, we did a good job. And I want listeners to clap for us too on their own. Everyone clap and send us your claps. No, actually, send us some clap emojis. Okay, shouties. Oh wait, you want to what are shouties, Chris? For people who are wondering. Oh yeah. All right, that was the time for us to transition to shouties, where we talk about moments in the movie that matter to us.
I like how we can't do it without snickering a little bit.
I know. We're such washed up influencers, you know?
Okay, what's your first?
I'm going to be honest, I don't really have one offhand, so I'd rather hear from yours, and then I might have some that pop up.
Okay, so I'm just gonna the first one. Jonesy is back. I do kind of love the limited time we have with Jonesy, but they use the shit out of her really well. Like, I like those tiny moments where when Ripley, at least early on, is telling Paul Reiser, "No, I'm not coming." Like, are you stupid, basically? And then the officers leave, and Ripley's back with Jonesy and starts to feed her again. It's like this moment of humanity. I like Hudson's line, "Stop grinning and drop your linen." Bill Paxton is amazing. I like the one guy when they're getting out of their sleep pods, and there's one guy that immediately puts a cigar in his mouth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he dies early on, but yeah, he seemed like he was going to be a cool character when you first watch it.
The moment he wakes up from the sleep pod, he has like a cigar in hand, which I just love. And, this one line from Ripley when she's talking with the board and they're all like basically gaslighting her. And Ripley says, "Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?"
Yeah.
It's a great Ripley line.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay. Anything that pops up?
I mean, I guess shouting to that whole boardroom sequence. I really do love that scene when she's trying to explain to all of them what happened and them having reasons not to believe her. And even just the buildup of realizing it's been like almost 60 years since the last one. If you watch that movie for the first time, it's like such a twist.
Oh yeah, when Paul Reiser's like 57 years and she's like, "What?"
Yeah. And he has like a coldness about him, like, "Oh, fuck, I didn't want to be the one to tell you."
Which is something we didn't really talk about this. Something I really liked about Burke, played by Paul Reiser really well, who is the representative of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, who, backstabs Ripley. What I like about him is that, like, he's a corporate guy that feels like a very modern version of what corporate guys are like, which is like,
"Oh, sure.
Hey, I don't wear a suit. I'm just like, I look like anyone else. I look like your best friend. Trust me." Like,
that's how they get you.
I'm on your side. I'm on your, like, come on, Ripley. Everyone, listen to Ripley. She knows what she's talking about. Like, he's on Ripley's side throughout the entire movie, right? Not the entire movie, but like 50% of it. He's like, Ripley's making sense. We got to listen to her. And that's like the most 2025 version of what a big tech CEO is.
And it's a genius build-off from the last one, because the one that represented the companies in the last movie was a literal android, And so it's kind of cool for the sequel. Let's have the corporate guy be the complete opposite, be like this super charming everyman kind of thing.
James Cameron has always been extremely cynical about humans. Like, specifically humans. And I think, like, in the Terminator movies, it's very clear that the villain, well, specifically Terminator 2. Terminator 2, the villain is human. Avatar, the villain is human. You know what I mean? It's like humans are, like, we are the worst evil out there. It's like fucking the Terminator said, it's in our nature to destroy ourselves. Yeah. And
that seems to be the unifying theme in James Cameron movies.
In Avatar, The Way of Water, the fucking Tulkun just rips that guy's arm off, and it's like, and it's also that heartbreaking shot where you see all the whales dead in the water.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yes, keep laughing at that, Chris.
No, I wasn't laughing at that part. I was laughing as he called it the Tulkun instead of just saying the whale.
It's the Tulkun, I was saying.
No, it's okay. I mean, like, here, I do the same shit when we talk about Star Wars.
I just think it's important to, like, put some respect on those whales, you know?
Yeah. I just wish you would put the same effort to being familiar with Star Wars lore.
That's fair. I'm not as big of a fan of Star Wars as you are, you know? And you're not a big as
and you're not as big of, you're not as big of a fan of Star Wars as you are with Avatar.
It is kind of funny. But,
I'm not a Star Wars guy. I'm an Avatar guy. Star Wars versus Avatar. Which do you pick?
And what if that's what brought both sides together? It's like, dude, fuck you, Star Wars. Like, okay. So you want to do the write-ins? We asked you guys, how did aliens change you? And you wrote us in at moviesthatchangeus@gmail.com. If you want to write us in for future episodes and you want us to read out your answers on how blank movie changed you, then follow us on all our socials. That's TikTok, Instagram. We also upload them on the YouTube community post. So just stay tuned wherever we are and you will know the next movie we're covering and when you can email us. The first write-in comes from Eddie. Hi, chaps. Hope you are both well. I love being called chaps. That's amazing.
I know, right?
I first watched Aliens in the early 90s when I was a teenager. It's pretty much a perfect film, mainly because of how Ripley is written and acted. In that age of Stallone, Arnold, Bruce Willis, etc., I don't remember once questioning her being a strong female lead in an action movie, mainly because her strength, courage, and leadership was very natural and maternal. She wasn't performing any crazy physical feats or relying on sex appeal, just making brave decisions based on her instincts to protect her people. I just want to add in, she is so hot in this movie. Sigourney Weaver. Goddamn.
No, I like that opening to bring it up when this email specifically saying how it doesn't rely on that. You're like, actually.
Well, that's the great part. It doesn't rely on it, but it's there. Coupled with atmosphere created with the sound design, still gets chills when I hear the motion tracker. It perfectly paces into an amazing climax. My late mother was similar to Ripley in her will and strength, so I guess that's also why the character resonates with me.
Oh,
James Cameron always seems to have a naturally strong female lead. Maybe his mother was tough too. Enjoying the new direction. Keep making videos. All the best from Eddie in England.
can we just call you Eddie in England? Like, can that be your new name, Eddie?
Eddie, if you're watching this or listening to this, comment on Spotify or comment on our YouTube and let us know if that's okay.
Yeah. Thank you for writing that in. I agree with pretty much everything you're saying. And thank you for sharing that about your mother, because
Yeah.
I think I can imagine that striking a special nerve,
I know. I mean, obviously we're sorry for your loss and we really appreciate you sharing that with us. That means a lot.
Yeah. This next one is from Art Hawk. Sorry. I saw this movie at an inappropriate age, far too young. It made me acutely aware of my own mortality and of those around me. And I learned, 1, you can be trained and prepared and things can absolutely still go hideously wrong. 2, you are absolutely always in the presence of someone who will undermine your efforts to get ahead. Thank you. Arkhawk Bladewing. Hell yeah. I hope that's your real name, dude. I just picture like you, the long, majestic hair, fucking armor with like feathers on it. And you wrote us this email in like a quill.
He's like, never doubt yourself.
That's done with my take on aliens, but I'm going to go rescue the princess from a fucking dragon.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Thank you for writing in.
I want to mention what he said of just like, you can be trained and prepared and things can absolutely still go hideously wrong. That is kind of the underlying theme of all alien movies, I feel like, which is at the center of it are very smart and well-equipped people, right? They're very competent. But their fatal flaw is that they're human and they're going against something that is beyond their comprehension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And also I like the last part too, that people will always undermine your efforts.
Yeah. I mean, a great underdog story.
Yeah.
Okay. So then third and last email comes from Kelly Ryan. Aliens, among with Terminator 2, basically ruined cinema for me by setting a standard for action films that is almost impossible to match. Kelly, I'm right there with you. The action sequences are impeccably staged, of course, and the design aesthetic has been endlessly imitated in film, TV, and gaming, but it's a script that does it for me. It's just so efficient and effective at quickly establishing the supporting characters, in some cases with just a few lines of dialogue, then dropping them into a meat grinder and cranking the handle. It's endlessly rewatchable, and an example of what action cinema can be when it's written and directed with intention and purpose, and not just the lazy shoot a bunch of stuff and we'll fix it all in the edit that seems to afflict a lot of modern films. Marvel, I'm looking at you. Kelly, are you in my brain?
Altaf, I think you wrote this email, dude, and are just pretending we have fans.
I am Kelly Ryan, yes. Take it easy, Kelly. And then Kelly also wrote in footnotes, I don't recall which I watched first, but I watched Terminator 2 at the cinema on original release for my 16th birthday. Wow.
Hell yeah.
I grew up in a small town without cinema, which meant it was basically the second film I ever watched on the big screen. Mind-blowing.
Wow.
The longest lasting effect was learning to play guitar because T2 introduced me to Guns N' Roses. If Altaf is still digging through 90s rock, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 are definitely worth a visit. Well, Kelly, thank you so much. I'll definitely give that a listen.
Hell yeah, do it.
I will. Well, what a pleasure doing this movie. And this was a kind of a wacky episode. A lot of South Park talk, but...
A lot of South Park slander, if you ask me.
No. Listen, I love South Park, especially because of how twisted
They'll go
they
anywhere, dude. There's no line they won't even cross. Like, they'll go there.
They'll go.
The irony of this bit, by the way, is like, this is the type of joke they'd make on South Park.
Yeah, South Park is very self-aware, and they would make fun of themselves, for sure.
Yeah.
And they would make fun of their fans as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say Matt Stone and Trey Parker came out in Comic-Con. And do you remember that teaser South Park released a while ago where it was like a bunch of shit that had just gone on this year? The LA fires, the plane crashes. They released a teaser with all those things happening. And it was all like, whoa, South Park is going to address all of this. They came out in San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend, right after the most recent South Park premiere release with Trump and Satan and all that stuff. And one of them was saying, he was like, I remember a lot of people complained when that teaser came out, which was like, wow, South Park was always known for like writing episodes so relevant that they were up to the minute. They were writing them at 2 days after they had happened and released it. It was like, and now they're just backlogging episodes. That sucks. And I think it was Trey Parker who was like, just so you guys know, that teaser's fake. None of that's in the show. We're not doing that. He's like, I just want to say, like, we're not changing up our operations. He even said that the Trump, like, Satan, that premiere, that was finished. We finished writing that about 3 to 4 days before, like, the episode was done.
That's so funny.
He's like, so I just want you to know that teaser, none of that's in the show.
That is rad.
So I wanted to end on the note that I really respect those two.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Head over to our Patreon if you want to see the bonus show where I guess the movie Hat. I'm really excited to play that. Thank you so much for supporting. Last but not least, get away from her, you bitch, and stay nice.